Welcome to me. Welcome to you. Glad to have you join us here on Tomato Talk. Top of mind, advancing through obstacles. That's a pretty cool car that you saw over there. Hey, that takes place, or that car or cars like that are at the Mount Carmel Church. It's every Tuesday night, and tonight is Tuesday. It is May 3rd, and the weather is hanging in there. It's dry. It is dry out, so hopefully that'll do it. But it's always nice when the weather is even better. And it continues to warm up a little bit, and that'll be good. So that is, let's get rid of the car. Is that a beautiful car or what? Hmm. Wonder. I wonder what the story behind that car is. I bet you it's pretty fascinating. That I can tell you. I'm sure it really is. All right, so here we are today, and hey, so much going on. Big thank you, by the way. Alex has been sharing this program out there quite a bit, so I certainly appreciate it. I never seem to do that. And one of these days, I'll actually get this thing set up where it goes out on a number of different platforms besides just my two Facebook pages and YouTube, which I've got. Oh, I think I'm at 13 or 14 subscribers on that one. Definitely got to clean a lot of this stuff up. But hey, I started late in life doing this stuff. What about those that started earlier? What about the person that owned that car? What if, let's take a look back. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how old that car is, but goes back. I wonder, I wonder what the story is there. I wonder if that person, well, I don't know, original owner, possibly, family car that got passed down, possibly, someone who's in the automotive industry, possibly, but possibly not. Could just be a hobbyist. As many of these cars, especially the ones that show up over at the church, are definitely car show type cars, and they do a fantastic job over there. That's Long Island needs a drag strip. Is the folks running the car show there, and it's I don't know, maybe it's more of a car meet and greet than a car show, where you just get a chance to show off your car. It's not competition, anything like that. It's just so many people just hanging out, having a good time, talking about cars, automobiles, history. That was not the last time I was down there. I went down there for the first meet they had, first show they had in April. And I would tell you, man, it was cold, and there was a couple of folks out there dedicated to that event. So it's really wild, including that ice cream truck. Nuts, nuts. It was so cold, really incredible how on that one lined up to buy ice cream. Everybody supports that community, but definitely good group of people to show up. So that's Mount Carmel Church. It's in Patchogue, New York, right on Route 112, very close to Sunrise Highway. Uh, just go. Anybody could go. It's fine. They ask for a donation, food donation, dollar donation for the church. The church takes that money, food, whatever, and they donate it out. It's a nice thing. Definitely a nice thing. Ice cream truck, a couple of the food trucks are there too, so it's good. Take your camera, walk around, have a good time, and maybe you'll find out what the story is behind that car. That photo was taken at one of those car shows, that were there. This whole experience with regards to the drag strip and the racing and the automotive industry and stuff like that. Besides it opens up a whole new world to me, really. I've never really been involved. I went to Islip Speedway, Freeport Speedway. You got to have gray hair to know what those places are. Never made it out to national, and that was the drag racing. Was always the oval stuff. I guess my father liked the oval stuff, so that's where those are the two tracks we went to. Riverhead, took my son out there for that one. So attended, and then this year's drag strip. But the point is that I just didn't know. I mean, I really didn't know how big that auto industry is, or how many car shows there actually are, or the history of all the automotive stuff. Here on Long Island. Had a conversation with Dennis Catone, about that whole thing. There was a gentleman that had expressed an interest in doing a video documentary on the topic, history of racing here on the island. Dennis introduced me to somebody. I was like, wow, wow, just such an eye opener, such an eye opener. And maybe that'd be the thing to really discuss. I know I titled this thing as, what's up next, you know, but I can tell you what totally is what is should be up all the time is your desire, desire to maybe not walk in somebody else's shoes or I'm waiting for Doug to chime in on that one, or to roll in somebody else's wheels. But to just see what other people are doing and to understand what it is they're doing. You don't have to have a deep understanding of it, but just understand it. So the next big event that's coming up is going to be the Miller Business Show, the Strictly Business event. That's May 5th. Okay, so we can tie this all in with that, and that is really what I was going to start talking about, and I kind of put that photo up in the beginning. But the industries that are here on the island are so many. We just don't see it. We don't see it. It's not that physical thing. I mentioned about the manufacturing industry that's here on Long Island. Yeah, and it was roughly 10 years ago. I was doing a job fair at through the town of Brookhaven. I got a chance to interview the exhibitors at that. It was a lot of fun to go and do that. I interviewed the interviewers. And it seems like it's one manufacturer after another. The HIA, Ron Loveland, the manufacturing committee, so many. And that, in the Hauppauge Industrial Park, they're there. In the Ronkonkoma area, they're there. Out east, they're there. All over. And you got to see what it is they're doing to understand. And, Ron brought it up. Hey, Doug, there you go. You'd be on board. Always a pleasure, Doug. Definitely always a pleasure. And the interesting thing is that it's such a generic term, the manufacturing industry. What is that? Any company that makes anything, manufacturing. And then within that, what kind of careers are involved within manufacturing? Tons. And it's not just assembly line workers. That's not it. Nowhere near that. Ran across DeCarlo Food. We use them as an example. DeCarlo Food. Saw them at some of the Brookhaven events. They were at the Sachem High School Career Day. Got a chance to speak to them. And one of the things I always find fascinating about DeCarlo, and I'm sure it's with so many others, just that I've run across DeCarlo more than others, and I had an interest in learning a little bit more about the company. So DeCarlo Food. Maybe it's not a household name. You're probably not going to be ordering DeCarlo Food and having it delivered to your house. But during the pandemic, they opened up their store. We were able to go in there and shop. Really great sense of community. So what does that tell you? I mean, they've got a PR department in there, right? They got a marketing department, advertising department, maybe a PR department. Maybe it's the same people. Maybe it's not that big. Maybe it is. Sales department, outreach. We're back to branding again, aren't we? Right? The sales department does not act alone. That website has to be consistent with everything. The message, the coloring, everything needs to be consistent across the board. So you got marketing and advertising and sales. That means you also have leadership. And sometimes a sales leader. So let's phrase it this way. Sometimes a leader in sales, and I got a very good friend who's a sales coach who might be able to actually chime in on this one, another one of these interesting topics. But a sales leader, a leader in sales may not be the perfect person to be managing your sales team. That means a different career opportunities. Now, why is that? Here's that word just again. Here's that word just. Oh, why are you so good in sales? I just make 30 phone calls a day. I just follow up with people. I just send a handwritten note out to a couple of folks each and every day. People just call me. They just follow me. Usually we're just a lot. It's like, wow, that's a natural salesperson. Why? Because they're convincing people to do something? No, that's a salesperson. It's because they just really love interacting with people. They are curious about what other people are doing, and they wind up just uncovering some of the issues that that other person has, and they may just have the right solutions for that. Why would they have the right solutions for it, or why might they be able to refer that person to somebody else who would have the solution for their issue? Because they have a natural ability to want to learn everything about that industry, not about that person, not about that company, not how to make a sale, but about that industry. They become an expert within the industry. Maybe not an industry expert, but an expert within that industry and how everything interacts with each other. Now all of a sudden they're a resource. So if a salesperson has that just come to them so naturally, when they get promoted up and now they're leading the team, they may not be able to convey that because it just comes naturally to them. You can take a baseball player that just is knocking it out, literally knocking it out of the park all the time. And they go up there and then, they're at the end of their field career as a player and then they become a coach. Well, if everything came so naturally to them, they really can't understand why somebody can't hit the ball or has a struggle with hitting the ball because it just came so naturally to them. So sometimes, there's always exceptions across the rule, you know, and I am not a sales expert or any kind of an expert in the industry. So that's why I'd be curious to get somebody else's point of view. But management. So management is its own career in and of itself. You might be very good at managing people, but not a very good salesperson, but you know how to assist other people in helping them find their groove to get everything going. That's another industry within a company. And again, I don't know how DeCarlo breaks it up, so I'm not really speaking on behalf, just using them as an example over here. But that's another one. And we talk about let's talk about automotive. Again, we'll go back to the same company. I even mentioned it to them. Those trucks. Have you seen their trucks? Have you seen any one of their trucks being dirty? No, I'm sure you have not. And if you have, oh, that's unique because all those trucks are always clean all the time. Hence, a vast career in and of itself. The maintenance of those vehicles, making sure they run properly. Because, hey, if a truck doesn't run properly, you can't make a delivery. That's not a good thing. That has to work. The refrigeration in the trucks have to work, or freezers in the truck have to work. They've got to be running properly, look the part, and actually have all those decals, the wrap on them too. Do they do all that stuff internally? Don't know. You could call, find out, whatever, if that's something you want to do. But that's another factor within the whole thing. We didn't even start talking about food yet, right? And the distribution of the food and the project management people and all the rest of that goes along with it. And actually keeping the building running in and of itself. So many different aspects of it. And that's manufacturing. Manufacturing and distribution. What is it that you learn? What is it that other people learn? How is it going to help? You got to just keep asking yourself. How big is that industry? It's immense. And when you break off the little pieces within it, it's even bigger. It's even bigger. And it's here. It's here. And maybe some of the stuff is not actually produced here. It's produced someplace else. But it's coordinated. And it works that way. So it's there. Now, what do we got coming up? Miller Business Show. Miller Business Show. Strictly, the Strictly Business Show at the Miller Business Center. That's at the Center Reach Library. So that is going from, it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning and it goes into the afternoon. It's going to be outdoors. Hopefully the weather cooperates. I think it's supposed to warm up a little bit. Hopefully it's not raining. That'd be good. Last year when they did it, it was so unbelievably hot. It was a little too hot, for that, but it was just so nice to get outside, and meet with people and just to like interact with people. But all that stuff I said about the industries that are here, the manufacturing industries that are here, and the careers that are involved with it. You take that same attitude with you and you show up at the Strictly Business event. You show up at the HIA trade show. You go to one of the Millville Chamber of Commerce's, events. You go to any of those things, and you take that same attitude and you start learning about people. You're going to become a master networker. You're going to become a resource. You're going to see your own growth, from in there. That's networking. That really is. Figuring out who you want to speak to on the initial conversation, that really should be a little bit of everything. Don't just completely prejudge something. Short conversation. Keep it short, keep it sweet, and then kind of make your decision as to what you want to do there. You want to keep the conversation going, or if you're at an event, limited time, perhaps not. Know how you want to end that. Follow up, figure out some way of following up. Make sure you got a card proper, all the rest of that kind of thing. And keep notes. Keep notes. Somebody put a post up over here about networking. What's the one thing about networking that you'd like to improve upon? I just looked at that internally. Keeping notes. Keeping notes. Used to keep a really good spreadsheet on who I met, where I met them, something about them, things like that. Industry, where I referred them to or not, could possibly or not, that kind of thing. That's key. It really is key because that'll keep you on the top of mind, with many other people as you're going through this. And it's been interesting. And in my world, with different kinds of projects along the way, just sharing, promoting with it, whatever, and doing, it's just kind of allowed me to get in, to meet like all kinds of fascinating people along the way. And I just find that part of it, just really, truly interesting, as that goes. You don't know where things are going to go and where you're going to wind up and stuff like that. Obviously it comes down to practical interest. A lot of the stuff I'm doing over here is volunteering, so it kind of floats around a little bit more to whatever kind of catches my fancy at the time. So it's a bit of a project, a little disjointed, I guess you could say, every once in a while as that goes. But the one common theme that I tend to follow along is those people that are working through something. They see an opportunity, they figure out how to get there, working through those challenges along the way. Maybe it's a learning knowledge, could be. Maybe it's an industry is changing so much that it's, the way they've done it before, it needs to change up. Seen a lot of that happen. Boy, seen an awful lot of that happen. You could take the advertising industry as an example on that one. Again, I'm not the expert in there, but I remember back in the day, you turn on that TV, there was a couple of channels that were there. Public access channel, a couple of major network channels, and that was about that. Cable got started. It was cable. You paid for cable. Don't even remember if there was commercials on there or not. You paid for access to those movies or special TV shows. I think there's more movies or MTV, music videos and stuff like that. Boy, has all that changed quite a bit. There's so many choices out there. There's so many places for you to go to get any kind of information, entertainment, whatever it might be. So what does it mean to you as a marketer in advertising? Where do you go? Where collectively is your target market? It's not all bunched up on 4 different channels. It's changed quite a bit. If you were in that industry, you had to change quite a bit. Newspaper industry, even that changed quite a bit. It's all changed quite a bit. Frustrating, exciting. Well, I don't earn a living in those areas. I find it exciting, not frustrating. If you were earning a living in those areas, maybe you do find it frustrating, maybe not exciting. But it's changed. It's changed quite a bit. Even papers have like printed paper. Very few things I actually read on printed paper. Usually some online something. And I don't mean social media or online. I'm talking like online magazines, papers, whatever. Hey, Dan's paper was kind enough. They wrote an article about the racing out east. Did I actually ever see the printed article? No, it was just online. Read the whole magazine online. So it's much more convenient than the rest of that stuff. So it's changed quite a bit. And their course structure changed. Everything like that has changed. It's all changed. Everything continues to change, as that goes. But look at things through other people's eyes. That's why you pick things up and things will go. And then you'll figure out a way to make the whole thing work for you as that goes. And I think as I continue to progress over here with this stuff, it's really getting pretty clear as to where those efforts, more of the free time efforts, really truly, need to go. I totally believe in communication skills, boy, now more than ever before. And this is not professional speaker or anything like that. So it's about you, me, regular folks. You go to a networking event, you got to be able to speak. You got to be able to speak within 2 minutes. I talk Toastmasters. That's table topics time. Your elevator pitch, right? That's even less than that. And it's less than the 2 minutes. But if you're having a conversation, 2 minutes explanation, not 5, not 7, not 10, two, doing that whole thing. You need to be able to communicate and communicate clearly and confidently. You don't communicate confidently? Well, that's a reflection of you, Mike. Good afternoon to you. Karen, always a pleasure. Mr. Cohen, woo, that's formal. Formal from the wife. But you need to be able to communicate confidently. You never know. Hey, who knows? Maybe I give you a call. Say, hey, why don't you come on? Why do I do that? Who holds a phone like this? It's this. Hey, communicate confidently that way. And now it's on video. Wow, that means you got to get used to the Zoom or it's a StreamYard, but whatever. The digital format of you, not the virtual format of you, but the digital format of you. It changes. It changes. Are you promoting a company? You're promoting you. It's you for most of everybody. It's you. The Call of Food, it's the company that's being portrayed. How do they do that? Clean trucks, right? Big trucks, lots of designs on there. Catches your attention. That's their communication within the local community. How they communicate with their target market? And obviously, their target market is not the people driving in the street. That's not it. But how the public perceives them is, and their target market's a different kind of thing. So when they go out and they do their industry trade shows, and when they go out, got to communicate. Got to communicate. Students, same thing. Got to communicate. Oh yeah, but somebody who's going to be more of a scientist behind the scenes. Sooner or later, you got to communicate your idea. Sooner or later. And who knows, maybe you're going to be in a position where you have to really communicate and stand up in front of a group of people. You go to a trade show someplace, you're communicating, right? I mean, take a look at our utility companies. Very much in the limelight. And their world is changing too. How do they do that? How do they stay within the public's eye? They're able to help people. Look, some of these utility companies are looking for us to do things more efficiently, energy efficiently. Why? So we don't have to build new projects all the time. Maybe we could do things different. And we are going to do things different. We've got wind farms coming out to the island over here. What a creation that is. It all changes. It all changes. So be curious. That's really the whole point of the whole thing. Be curious. Continue on with that curiosity. And if it's your career, well, focus in on that industry and those people in that industry and find out about what's going on. And continue to talk to people in and of it. Make those referrals. Have those conversations because you're going to continue to learn. And then you're going to use that word just much more frequently. Much more frequently. Hey, you should speak to this person that I just spoke to. Do you know that this person, is involved with that one too? Just might be a good fit for you. And it'll naturally come to be once you get that mindset going on over there. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be in a position where you could actually get some big project going on that'd just be unbelievable. Maybe one day you'll stand in front of a group of students, as you should, and talk about your business. Talk about what it was like when you were their age. And now you have this career. You've gone in this path because of some intrinsic abilities that you had as a kid, but you just never paid attention to, knowingly paid attention to. But it had an impact on you. And if you could just speak to those kids, students, high school, junior high, whatever age group that is, and help them along a little bit, that could be the most impactful thing that you could ever do. And that'll keep you definitely motivated because you're going to see that what you are doing actually serves a purpose. May not be totally clear every once in a while, but it definitely is a purpose. Should you just be working for a paycheck? You know what? That's a hard thing to do. It just is a hard thing to do. If you're working for a reason, that's great. If you could help our students find careers where they're working for a reason, hey, that's great too. I mean, you can make the whole thing work where they're working for something, you're working for something, you're able to refer people where everybody's benefiting from the whole thing. Well, that could actually be magical. And if we continue to do that, Long Island in and of itself will become a much stronger place. All those manufacturers are looking for positions to be filled, along with so many retailers that are looking for positions to be filled. They're going to find the potential employees will find them because they'll know why. Some student, I got great people skills. I don't want to sit at a desk all day long. I want to interact with people. You know what? That's a sales leader. That's perhaps a manager. That's somebody who should be in retail. It could be a communication specialist one day. Somebody like that has personalities that fit that kind of a thing. Would that person make to be a good accountant? I don't think so. I don't think so. But somebody else that really not big on interacting with people, but loves details. Maybe that person's going to be an accountant. Perhaps that person would become that project management specialist that loves to sit there on the computer and figure it out. Become the one that coordinates the distribution centers, which I always seem to be fascinated by. How does that work? How do you get all these different products that come into someplace and then it all goes out and it gets delivered in such a quick format now, too? How's that work? I don't have a clue in the world. Somebody's got that together. And somebody will make it even better as we go forward. Those drones, they're coming. Electric cars, so many things, they're coming. Solar power, wind, alternative energy, it's all that's coming. What kind of changes are we going to see on the horizon? So many. We just need to be prepared. And the only way we're going to be able to be prepared is with a whole boatload of knowledge. And if we don't have that knowledge, surround yourself with those people that do. And that will help you achieve your success, whatever it might be, whether it be from a volunteer standpoint, helping out a nonprofit, a business, the next generation, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. All that stuff will help out in a big way. Keep connecting the right people with the right people, and that's a great thing. Makes you feel good. If nothing else, certainly makes you feel good. And that is why you need to be able to communicate. And that is why you should be pretty good, at least pretty good on that networking side of things. Keeping the notes. This way you know, and this way you don't have to go, I can't remember that person's name. This is why you attend events, pick the right events to go to. You can't go to every event. That drive yourself crazy. That's become so much of a lifestyle. And find that interest. Find that interest in you and help some other student find in that interest. That's the great thing. And that is why you should speak well, speak often, and live inspired. You just may not know who else you might impact along the way. Have a great day. Maybe we'll see you. Car Show. some other place. Definitely May 5th, strictly business event. Be there for that one.